In five, four, three, two, one. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Junior Golf Podcast. I'm your host, Ro Thompson. And as always, we got a special guest on the broadcast tonight, none other than Brett Ammons, Southeast Director of the Hurricane Junior Golf Tour. Hey, what's going on, Brett?
Hey, Ro, good to be here. Love watching the podcast and great to be on it for once. Good,
Thank you,
good to,
man.
good to
Thank
be
you.
on here.
Thank you for coming on. I think I had Mario on a couple of years ago, but I know y'all
Mhm.
have grown and advanced and taken things to a whole nother level, man. So before we get into all the junior talk, man, give us a little background about yourself.
So I was on the other side of the tee box myself. I was a junior golfer. Played several tours. I'm born and raised in the Atlanta area,
Okay.
so I played Georgia PGA, Southeastern Junior Golf Tour, run by Scott Gordon and Todd Thompson, and then whose son's actually now on the PGA Tour, Todd's son. But the main tour I always played was Hurricane. Just at the time when I was playing, it was probably about 4 years old. First started in 2008, and when it first started in 2008, it was only 20 tournaments in 4 states. And then
Wow.
it started, slowly, gradually getting better. And then, as of right now, we have 380 tournaments coming up in the 2025 schedule. But I played
Wow.
a lot more in the Atlanta area. Me and my dad, sometimes we put some miles on the car and go to South Carolina, go to Florida,
That's
got
right.
Tennessee, branch out a little bit. And that's the thing that I think drew myself and a few other guys that I played with on the tour was just how much uh, tournaments there are around. There wasn't just one going on that weekend. There were several all throughout the country. But
Right.
yeah, I played myself. I went and did my junior golf thing, and then um, played GS Junior Championships, and then went on to play 4 years, 2 years at Andrew College in Cuthbert, Georgia, and then two
Okay.
years at LaGrange College. So I take a lot of golf tournament experience. I think that's one thing that I know best in my life is golf tournaments.
Yes.
And I knew golf tournaments probably the best even before I started doing this job. And then
Mhm.
just being on the other side of T box is like I never thought I would be on that side running golf tournaments. I mean, I ran a couple charity scramble golf tournaments with my dad growing up. Helping put out the signs on the holes that are like the long drive contest and the
Sponsorship
closest to the
hole.
holes.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know the part threes where the local dealership donates a car or whatever.
Hole in one.
So
That's right.
yeah, hole in one where it's got to be 160 and videotape. So I went that route, played a lot of golf, and then just came to the other side of the tee box with Hurricane, actually back in 2020, and parlayed that into a career with Hurricane and going on my fourth year as being a tournament director with Hurricane.
So how did you get connected to Hurricane? What made you look into that junior tour?
So it's kind of funny. I have actually been Facebook friends with our owner and founder, Mario Conti, back in since I think 2014, 2015.
Okay.
Mario used to direct a lot of the tournaments that I played in. He was kind of like, his area was Georgia, South Carolina, Florida. So,
Okay.
I couldn't miss him. And so, there's pictures of me and him at our first annual Hurricane Cup back in 2013, talking on the first tee. I was captain of the Georgia team that year,
Okay.
and just that was actually the day after the kick six with Auburn and Alabama. We were discussing. I remember we were talking about that play on the first tee. But yeah, it went and so I had that connection with Mario talking to him. But like I said, I like millions of other junior golfers had the dreams of the PGA Tour and playing for thank you Tiger Woods, playing for $1 million a weekend, but
That's right.
just didn't make enough putts, didn't hit the ball close enough to the hole, and that's kind of just what I always thought that I was going to be. But when I didn't do that, I was like, well, where do I go from here? And I actually got a business degree at LaGrange and then went into the corporate world. I was
Okay.
a account executive for the Georgia Swarm, an indoor lacrosse team on the
Okay.
northeast side of Georgia, northeast side of Atlanta, and worked there for a few months. And just that, I don't in sales, you got to know your product, and I did not really know lacrosse.
Right.
So so I ended up there was a job opening for sales manager. I think it was the title for Hurricane Junior Golf Tour. I'm like,
Okay.
if there's one thing I know, it's junior golf tournaments. So I'm like, this sounds perfect. So this was December of 2019. I did a preliminary interview with Mario. and then did a follow-up interview with Mario.
Okay.
And then I remember it was actually the second Sunday of January 2020. So I was supposed to talk to him the next day on Monday,
Mm-hmm.
and because they were I had made like the final five or final three or whatever it was for the
Okay.
job, and we were supposed to talk on Monday. And Mario sends me an email. I actually still have it in my email box. He said, "Hey, I need to talk to you today. Let's talk at 3:30."
Right.
Okay. So he calls me and he says, "Well, you didn't get the job as sales manager." And I'm thinking, good luck on future endeavors. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
You kind of have been in that job hunting, you kind of know the deal. So I'm thinking
Right.
that's where the phone call ends. But out of nowhere, he just said, "You want to talk about God dropping something from your lap?" He goes, "Have you ever thought about being a tournament director for us?"
Mm.
No. What does that entail?
Right.
And he says, "Well, you would be based in Orlando here, and Orlando is our home base."
Right.
He said you would be based in Orlando, and you would be in charge of operational interns that'll have a van and a trailer, and you guys will run the tournament out of that trailer each weekend. He said
Mm-hmm.
you will kind of be our all over director, is what is the term
Yes.
he used, and you will kind of just go from state to state,
Mm-hmm.
but we'll fly you on Thursday from Orlando Airport and then fly you back either Sunday night or Monday morning after the tournament. He
Sweet.
goes, we cover all that. We cover your hotel, all that. What do you think? And I remember thinking, when do I
Hmm.
start?
Like now.
When do I start?
Right.
That for a guy, I think at that point I had been to, I think at that point in my life, I was 23 and a half in January 2020. I had been to 10 states on like 11 flights.
Mm-hmm.
And the first year I worked for Hurricane, which was the 2020, even the COVID year,
Yeah.
79 flights to 27 different states,
Wow.
even with
So,
all the COVID stuff going on.
so
Never got
you
it.
right.
Never got it.
Never got it. So you know the airline industry probably better than they know it.
Yes. Yes. I
Right.
went on more flights in the first 2 months on this job, bro, than I had been in the first 23 years of life.
Yeah,
So just
definitely.
and that was definitely an eye opener to just I directed a golf tournament in a different state every weekend for 5 months from May of 2020 through October of 2020, which is probably the craziest 5 month stretch in American history,
For real.
world history, because
Yeah.
nobody knew what to think when COVID
Right.
was running rampant. But that's kind of how it worked. And then I actually took a step back and was not with them for about a year or so.
Okay.
And then out of nowhere in May of 2020, I came back and I was Northeast director
Hmm.
for May of 2022 through August of 2022. And
Okay.
then right as our fall semester was about to start, they said, they came to me. I'll never forget this. They said, "Hey, we just wanted to let you know you're going to go out to the Midwest for about 3 weeks and
Mhm.
run a tournament in Kansas City, Minneapolis, and Wisconsin." I'm like, "Great. I haven't been to Minnesota before."
Right.
And they said, "And when you get back from Wisconsin on Labor Day, you're no longer Northeast director." I'm like, "What? Did I do something wrong?" They said,
Yeah.
"No, no, no. We're relocating you to Atlanta. You're going to be Southeast director."
Oh
I
wow.
said, okay, that's great. I'm from Atlanta. Good to be living in Atlanta. Just
Yeah.
start with that next time. Just move the order of those two sentences. The way you said it gave me a heart attack.
Yeah.
So, and that was September or Labor Day of 2022, and I just went past the 2 year mark of being Southeast director. So, it's
Now,
been
how many states you cover?
I cover the Carolinas,
Hmm.
Tennessee, Florida, Alabama, and then I sometimes you drive out and you do some tournaments in Kentucky and Virginia, and then right now I'm in Missouri and I flew here today.
Okay.
So like I said, I kind of call myself Southeast and all over.
Gotcha.
This year I've directed a tournament in Ohio, Illinois, Colorado, Arizona, here in Missouri. Um, excuse me, so Virginia. So not just the Southeast, and I
Right.
love that. Just getting to not only try to grow the game in those states that I mainly am in the Carolinas. Some of those there's a couple players that play our tour like every week, and I
Hmm.
see them
Yeah.
every week because they live in South Carolina, North Carolina, and I
Yeah.
that's mainly my area. But
Yeah.
then, but it's also good to go to these different ones. So it's definitely been a grind. These tournaments are not easy. They
Right.
and um, tournaments are not the same now than they were when I was playing, or even back in 2020 when I was running them. They were a lot different. There nowadays you got kids high fiving and walking side by side, but back in 2020 they were had to stay 6 feet apart, and
Yeah.
scoring was never inside; it was always outside back in 2020. And I
Mhm.
remember like having to put tees sit and measure them out with tape 6 feet apart
Right.
to where the kids could stand at scoring. So and now they sit shoulder to shoulder at scoring. So it's definitely different, but it's definitely a lot of fun.
Yeah, you probably know a buddy of ours. He plays on the tour a lot. His name is Wyatt Hightower. Does that ring a bell?
That's my guy,
That's your
Wyatt.
guy.
His granddad. The whole
Granddad
family.
have him in everything. I'm
They're
like,
awesome. I love Wyatt. I've handed him a couple trophies, a couple winter trophies.
yeah,
Great kid. There's some kids that you just I'm not gonna lie. Every tournament director can attest to this. Some kids you could have them, 4, 5, 6 times, and sometimes you just can't remember their name. But then some people you've had them twice and they just stick. And
yeah,
definitely the
yeah,
Hightower family is definitely one of them.
yeah. Wyatt plays on the South Carolina tour with my son, so we get a chance to see him a lot. But we also notice he plays a lot of Hurricane too, so he's out there. He's out there.
Yeah, he's right up there from South Carolina. And every time I have a Myrtle Beach or Charles, that's kind of where I've been the last few months. Is kind of Myrtle Beach, Charleston, Hilton Head. We have a lot of tournaments there, and
Yeah, that's
they're
about two
usually
hours for
they're in
me.
there. So yes, sir.
About 2 hours for me. So talk to us a little bit about Rhett. What's the age group that Hurricane tries to focus on the most?
So I kind of go this in two parts. So right
Yeah.
now we have four male divisions and we have two female divisions. So right now we have the girls U13 and then we
Okay.
have the girls 14 to 18. I'll go with
Okay.
ladies first, like my mom and dad taught me ladies first. But anyway, then
Yeah.
we have boys 10 and under. We have boys
Hmm.
11 to 13. Then we have boys 14 to 15, and then we have boys 16 to 18. But starting in 2025,
Hmm.
we will have boys 10 to 11
Hmm.
and boys 12 to 13. So so we're kind of like condensing those two down, so and making them two
Okay.
groups. And so
Right. And then you have
but
the
right, but as
13 to 18 together.
yes, so and
Okay.
so for wait, what was that?
Is it 13 to 18 or 14 to 18?
14. So 14,
Okay.
so for girls it's 14 to 18, and then girls 13 and under. So we take anybody from ages 8 to 19.
Okay.
Anybody from ages 18, they're fine if they can play if they're 19, as long as they have not started college classes.
Okay.
So, like
Okay.
for me, for
Maybe a
example,
gap year or something.
I was that, or I was a July baby, so
Okay.
I didn't start college till September. If I wanted to play a golf tournament back in 2015 in July after I graduated high school, I could have because I hadn't started college yet.
Right.
So like if you turn 19, between when you start college, then you can play as long as you haven't started college classes. And
Gotcha.
then, but yeah, so every group is a good every age group is a great fit for Hurricane. We don't have like some tours you have to meet a certain talent requirement. I guess you got to like
Yes.
have a certain handicap. You got to be able to break 100. We take anybody
Yes.
on the tour. We
And
condense
that
them
gives
into
them good
amateur
experience
yardages.
too.
Absolutely. We've
Yeah.
had kids that, it was their first tournament with us. And then we've had kids that have been playing with us since, they were 8 years old in the 10 and
Right.
under division. And now they're in the 16 to 18 division. So, I mean, the other day I handed a kid a trophy in the 16 to 18 year olds. And then I'm like, wait, this guy looks familiar. And then I went back after the tournament and I had handed him a first place trophy in the 11 to 13 back in 2020.
Ah,
So we have kids that have they start playing our tour in the 16 to 18-year-olds, and then we have some kids that start playing our tour, 8, 9 years ago in the 10U, and now they're seniors in high school. For the
yeah.
boys, for the boys 10 and under, we kind of try to get them around about 4,500, 4,600 yards.
Okay.
For girls 13 and under, about 5,000. The girls 14 to 18 and the boys 11 to 13, they play from the same tees
Hmm.
at about 56, 5,700. And then the boys 16 to 18, the boys 14 to 15, they play from the same tees at about 66, 6,700. Now that's on like a flat par 72 golf course,
Okay.
because there's a lot that goes into the setup of the tournaments. When we get out
Gotcha.
there the day before or 2 days before to
Yes.
put out our tees, because
Mhm.
you first as a tournament director, I'm checking the weather. Is it going to be
Windy.
95 and and calm, or is it going to be 40 and windy like I'm going to have this weekend in St. Louis? So
Right.
you put them at 6,700 yards at 40 and windy, they'll be the 400-yard par fours will turn into par fives. So they there's a lot of things that go into that. Elevation too. I mentioned I ran a tournament in Colorado, and we had to kind of take that into effect too, because if you had a 340-yard par four in Denver, Colorado, they were probably going to drive the green.
Yeah. Easy.
So
Yeah.
so you had to kind of
Elevation.
take that into account. And like rain, is it going to be around where the ball land is, where the ball is going to end up where it landed, or is it going to be one where the ball is going to roll out 20, 30 yards? So there's a
Yeah.
lot of things
Course
that
could be
go
dry.
into that when it comes to yardages. But
Mhm.
any age group is a great fit, no matter if you're a beginner, intermediate, or expert in the golf world. And that, just like anything in life, there's never I always say there is never a bad time to start. COVID turned a lot of kids onto golf, like golf had never seen since 1997
Like
when
never
Tiger Woods won the
before.
Masters.
Right. Yeah.
The jump of golf was bigger, was something they hadn't seen since '97 when Tiger won,
Right.
and a lot of kids, that was the only thing that was open in certain states. The tennis courts were closed, the basketball
The
courts were
gyms was
closed,
closed. Right.
gyms was closed, but no
Mhm.
football in their state, California. That's not Brock Bowers, who plays for the Las Vegas Raiders. He didn't even have a senior season in 2020.
Mm.
So that out in I think out in Napa Valley in California. So a lot of kids went to golf because they didn't have to worry about their teammates. In football, you worry about, if one guy messes up a block, the whole play could be over. In golf, it's all
Right.
you. And so but back to what I was saying, we take any age group is a great fit. And you can always play up. If you think you're better than your age group and you want to play up, we
Okay.
let anybody play up. I've had a girl that was 12 years old when our girl's 14 to 18-year-old by 10 shots
Oh.
one time.
She's a
And
player.
exactly,
Yeah.
she's what Pat McAfee calls a dog.
Right.
Uh, she's a good
So you
one.
don't
So
restrict the kids from
no,
moving up an age group. That's good. That's
you
good.
just can't go down. You can't be 14 to 15-year-old and play in the 13-year-old age group. So
Yeah.
you can either play the age group you're on or play up.
Right. And Charlie used to play a bunch of Hurricanes about a year or two ago, didn't he?
Charlie Woods?
Charlie Woods, yeah.
Yes, he did. He won one of our tournaments back in June last year. He
Yes.
shot one under and won 10 shots, and our tour was all over Zaire Golf and Golf Digest, and our social media team was thanking God for all the free publicity. So,
Right.
but yeah, so Charlie and Charlie's Tiger or dad, you might have heard of him. His name's Tiger Woods.
Yeah, yeah.
Tiger and our owner Mario have known each other for a
Oh,
while.
okay.
We used to have this thing called the Ambassador Series, and
Okay.
certain age groups back in 2020, certain age groups, there was an ambassador tied to all six age groups. Like I think Will Smith was the boys 14 to 15.
Okay.
Bryson DeChambeau was the
I
boys
think I saw
U10.
that. Yeah.
Justin Timberlake was, I think, the girls 14 to 18. But Tiger was our 16 to 18-year-old, and we had an ambassador series, and there were like 20 tournaments, and it was
Hmm.
like its own separate point standings, and whoever had the top point standings at the end of the year after all the ambassador series would get to meet their ambassador, and
Oh,
Hurricane would like kind of set it up. And
okay.
so what for Tiger in 2019, what we did was we sent the top points getter to the Hero World Challenge at Albany in the Bahamas,
Mm.
and he got to play. He got a putting lesson. He got dinner with Tiger. He got to walk the front nine in a practice round with him.
Oh, that's
Um,
incredible.
but yeah, back to Charlie. Yeah, Charlie's played our tour a few times, and now he's made the jump up to playing HAG events and
Oh, no doubt. Yeah,
USGA's. He just played in the USGA Junior, which I'm sure for Tiger winning that tournament three times in '91 through '93, winning the US Junior. I bet that was nostalgic to get to caddy for him.
that's right. So Brett, talk to us a little bit about the membership. and all the perks you get, with the Hurricane.
Absolutely. So we just launched our 2025 membership. We're looking at 380 tournaments in about 24 states coming up in 2025, and we're still adding. We still are looking at adding some to the end of the year next year. But yeah, it's starting at $299, and that comes with what's called early bird registration. If you're one of the first people that even 4, 5, 6 months out from the tournament, if you sign up, you automatically get $125 off from the member rate of that tournament.
That's pretty good
Um,
right there.
we have it adds up. If you play we have some players that only play 2 tournaments, and then we have some players that just play every week. So
Hmm.
if you're the latter, it adds up.
Okay.
It comes in handy. You can play our tour as a non-member, but if you play 3 tournaments a year, it adds up. Or you just made the
That's
membership
your
up right
membership
there,
fee right there. Right.
because we have a $85 difference between the member fee and the non-member fee of each tournament.
Okay.
So that, and with it being 299, you play in 3.5 tournaments, or you
Yeah.
basically just made it up right there.
Right.
Um, we also get everybody will get $50 towards a tour credit for referring new members.
Okay.
So anytime a player is playing and he tells his high school, that he won a Hurricane Junior Golf Tournament, they're like, "What's that?" And then if they refer them and they come and play,
Hmm.
the original player gets $50 into their account towards a future tournament, and it's $50 no matter how many members you. So if a guy has a 20 member high school golf team and he refers 19 of them to our tour, that's $950 in the account.
So each player, are they assigned a code, or how does that
Yes.
work? How does it get? Okay.
So what they'll do is they will just go through. There's a way that you can put the name of the player, and
Oh,
if we
okay. Okay.
can coordinate and make sure that, like, you're not just throwing out a random name, that it's actually legit, then
Mm.
there's the $85, or excuse me, the $50. But also one of our bigger sponsors, Short Par Four, that comes with $50 worth of Short Par Four apparel. Every now and then Short Par Four sends it through us right to the address. One thing that we're rolling out this year, so for all Hurricane tournaments, as
Hmm.
of right now, the boys 10 and under and the girls U13 get a
Yeah.
caddy.
Oh,
However,
okay.
starting in 2025, all because we're expanding it to boys 10 and 11 and boys 12 to 13. So
Hmm.
those 2 divisions and the girls U13 will now be allowed caddies. So if your son or daughter is just became a teenager or is younger than a teenager, you
Hmm.
can caddy for them. They're not required to have a caddy.
Okay.
But they can have one. So
Just one of the
uh,
perks.
exactly, we have member only events with we kind of make it feel more like a pro event for the juniors, with events before the tournament and then after, a mixer where they can kind of meet with some friends that the thing that's always fun about these is the mixers. Whenever you have, like, I had friends that were a friend of mine. He lived in Brazil, and I didn't
Hmm.
see him for a year until he happened to play we played in the same tournament, and we ran into each other. We didn't even know we were playing in the same tournament, and we just picked up like it was nothing. And that's one of the cooler things about seeing the development with the kids is, these lifelong friendships. I got friends I played with, 10, 11, 12 years ago in junior golf terms I still talk to this day. um, Stephen Fisk, who's about to play the PGA Tour. He was Georgia
Hmm.
Southern 3-time All American. Me and him grew
Yeah.
up together. So um, it's a lifelong game. It
Yeah.
really is. And
That's the thing.
but
That's
we
the thing about those friendships. Once they go past golf.
Absolutely, but we also got a lot of sponsorships through just strictly equipment. So
Okay.
Good Golf, you get 15% off apparel and golf accessories. Foresight Sports, you get 50% off our training technology. Mizuno, you get 45% off their premium golf equipment through being a member with us.
That's
And then
good.
also just the entire company, you get 45% off any Strixon equipment,
Yeah.
whether it be driver, irons, balls, whatever the case may be. Like I said, Short Par Four, not only do you get that $50 for being a value pack for being a member, you also get 25% off anything Short Par Four has.
Gotcha. And how
And
do
then
you
we have a
That's
okay.
good. That's really good. No, I was going to ask you something along those lines. Oh, and y'all also have 72, 54 hole events too, don't y'all?
Yes.
Yes. And I noticed y'all
Yes.
have them like kind of like all at one time. I mean, like during the same time frame.
Yeah, so 54 hole events in the junior golf
Mhm.
world, that's how players can get WAGR rankings, which is
That's
World
huge.
Amateur Golf Rankings. And
Right.
those are huge. That's what a lot of kids that some kids they only play the tour for those 54 hole events
Right.
because of the WAGR rankings.
Yeah.
And those occur in the middle of July. We'll have our midseason invitational this week. This year we had it at Reunion.
Okay.
I was there actually for that one. I had actually flown in from our Colorado tournament to help run that one.
Right.
But we also have tournaments, 54 hole events on President's Day weekend in February, and then we also have a Memorial Day weekend in May. And
Okay.
then they'll get sprinkled in here and there, like one or two during the summertime.
Mhm.
Um, it's a lot easier to do them in the summertime because nobody's restricted by school. The players aren't restricted by school,
Don't
so
have to
it's a
take
lot
out.
easier
Yeah.
to
Hmm.
let them go
And
and
everybody gets
play in the
President's
summertime.
Day off too.
Exactly, President's Day weekend, and then obviously Memorial Day. There are some states that are still in school, but
Oh,
they get
okay.
Memorial Day off. So
Yeah.
I think out west they don't even get out of school until Father's Day. So in June, but they do get Memorial Day weekend off. So those tournaments are really big. The 54 hole events, but all our events are sponsor our Junior Golf Scoreboard will only accept 36 hole tournaments. They'll accept 18 or 27 hole tournaments if it was originally planned as a 36 hole tournament. Like if
Oh,
it was
okay.
rain shortened to 18 holes, they'll
Right.
accept it. But if it was originally planned as an 18 hole tournament, they will not accept
Come
it.
on. Yeah, that makes
So,
sense.
but for all our tournaments, whether it's, as long as it's scheduled to be 36 or 54 and you get 18 in, then it's going to be a ranked golf tournament.
They'll accept that. Okay. Good, good, good. All right. So you how do y'all determine your pairings and tee times?
That's a great question. So, to be honest, there's two ways that we go about it.
Okay.
Or three actually. So for day one of the tournaments, they're most about 90%, 95% of our pairings for day one are randomized.
Okay.
Now, how they're determined time wise is it's kind of a year long process.
Hmm.
There are some tournaments that we go to at courses where we've been going there since the beginning of the tour, back when Mario was running it by himself in 2008.
Okay.
There's a few venues that we go to that we've been going since then. And they just, as soon as the tournament's over, will say, "Hey, would you like that? Would you be okay, great with us coming back in 2025?" Yes. All right, let's get you guys on the books, and we signed a contract for the 2025 event.
Right.
And then there's sometimes, that we get, and then we go through them to say like, "Hey, when would you like us to go off?" Because let's be real here, the members at some of these golf courses, they pay the salaries,
Members.
they keep the lights on, So I from I've done over 170 events I've been a part of with Hurricane directing
Mhm.
and seeing kind of the behind the scenes work. As a golfer, you show up an hour before, you hit your golf balls, you hit your putts, you play your 4.5 hour round, and you go home. But you
Right.
don't see the months of work that goes into, because we have to keep in touch with these guys 3 months in advance. Because if I just showed up the day before and had not talked to them in 3 months,
They
those
may
tee
have
times are
forgot.
probably gone,
Yeah.
and we're scrambling to find another event because we didn't do our job and keep them in the loop.
Follow up. Yeah.
And there are some courses that'll be like, hey, you guys can have the first tee time, go at 7:30, and the first group has the whole course to themselves.
Mm.
But there are some times where the course will say, hey, we'll have you guys start at 12 because it gets dark at 8 in the
Yeah.
summertime. So
Yeah. Definitely.
that's exactly. And so that's kind of how day one and day two, the times, it's just in the contract of where we sign. Now, there are times we'll say, hey, can we go earlier? Yeah, you guys want to go at 9 instead of 10? Great. But
Good.
day one, they are randomized. Now, there are some times where we have some big names, and we have, like, I had, when I was playing, what they used to do was they would have them like the names and then
Mhm.
what number they were in the point standings.
Okay.
And then they used to kind of like how the marquee group, they would have like a marquee group for every
Okay.
single age group.
Okay.
Like one time I was paired with two guys, and I was number 3 in the Hurricane rankings that year in 2013 at the
Hmm.
time.
Hmm.
The guy I was playing with was 6, and the other guy was 5.
Okay.
And so we were the top 3 in the rankings for the 16 to 18-year-olds. And so they paired us together
Okay.
and I think we shot combined like 3 under that day.
Yeah. That's
So
good. That's a dream pairing.
exactly. So there
Yeah.
are some times where there are some times you want to have a little fun with it. There are some times. Well, what I'll do personally to the parents is what I'll do is I'll see if we got siblings, because sometimes I used to play in hurricane tournaments with my
Mhm.
brother, and my brother and I are 8 years apart, so there was already going to be a little gap with me going to 16 to 18, him going 10 to 10U.
Yeah.
And what we would do is my dad would be like, "Hey, just put them as far apart as you can or as close as you can." And
Right.
so I'll ask the parents, "Hey, would you like them paired together to watch?" Some parents are like, "Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be so easy for us to watch them because day two is based on score.
Hmm.
Day two is based on score. We call it LTL, leaders T last,
Okay.
in the age group. So that's how day two is determined. But on day one, we and some parents will request it. Hey, we're hey, his graduation's the night before. Can you put us in the last tee time of the age group? Or hey, we're driving in from 4 hours away. Can you put us in the last tee time? So I can't honor your request if I don't know what it is.
Right.
So
So
that's what I
communication
tell
is the
every
big
parent.
thing.
Right. I can't honor your request if I don't know what it is. I can't put you in the last pairing if I don't know you want to be there. So, but like I said, there are randomized. Sometimes you'll have fun with it. And then for me, I just check with siblings because there's some parents that don't want their kids paired together. They're like, no, they're too competitive. They'll kill each other.
Yeah.
And there are that want them to be. And then, like I said, on Sunday, it's we do 16 to 18 year olds tee first, 14 to 15-year-olds tee next, 14 to 18-year-old girls, and
Okay.
then boys 11 to 13, girls U13, and then boys U10. It's kind of going down the ladder of the ages,
Right.
and
You find
that
that helps with the speed of the round or
with the flow and the pace.
flow.
To be honest, there are some times where 16 to 18-year-old boys, they've been playing junior golf tournaments since they were 6, 7, 8 years old. They kind of know what to expect. And
Hmm.
sometimes on Sunday, you have there are the guys that they do this and start trying to read it like Tiger used to back in the day. They add a couple extra putting strokes, but then some
Hmm.
guys are so routine about it. They have the same putting routine on the 36th hole of the tournament as they did on the first.
Right.
So the Sunday usually goes a little bit faster because some kids haven't even seen the course on Saturday. They use Saturday as almost like its own practice room, and
Right.
then just setting them up for Sunday success. So, and then what if we have a tie? Like for example, if we had one guy at 69, one guy at 70, and then two guys at 71, how we
Hmm.
determine who goes in that last pairing on the PGA Tour? They do it by whoever finished first. Well, the
Yeah.
reason that guy finished first is because he was in a worse spot and he shot a better score.
Right.
So what we do is we go backwards from 18, and
Okay.
we'll say so if one guy birdied and the other guy parred, whoever birdied would be in the last pair.
Okay. Gotcha. That makes sense. So now, Brett, y'all got this big national tournament coming up. Talk to us a little bit about that, and because this sounds like this is going to be huge.
Yes, sir. Like I said, this will be my fourth national championship weekend.
Okay.
Every single year, you plan and plan for this weekend for months,
Okay.
and you still feel like you could have you didn't plan enough. Like you could literally just have one guy focusing on that for a month, and it feels
Hmm.
like you still haven't planned enough because we have 8 tournaments going on during that weekend down in
Hmm.
Orlando from tournaments
Okay.
at Champions Gate, Providence, Rio Pinar down there in the Orlando area. It's a lot
Okay.
easier for it to be all in Orlando because if we had tournaments, if these national championships were based all throughout the country, that would just be so tough on the parents when they have multiple kids that could be in these national championships.
That's true.
So
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 how many courses y'all have for the 8 tournaments?
we have 8 different
Eight.
ones. We
Okay.
have 8. We have all the way through all over the place, and we have last year we did about 8, 9 tournaments, and I think we had about 1,200 participants total when you added up all the participants from that tournament. I
That's
mean, it's
humongous.
look eight. I mean, like 16, 18-hour days.
Yeah,
You're
that's
up at
humongous.
4 a.m. getting to the golf course at 5:30 or 6 because your first pairing's at 7, and you're there's
And it goes smooth
it does sometimes. Keyword
sometimes. Okay. Okay.
sometimes
Yeah, that's a lot.
because
Yeah.
because the other thing doing these tournaments, Ro, is a lot of the courses that we do some tournaments on sometimes
Hmm. Hmm.
they're great golf courses if you're in a cart. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. But
The
if you
long walks in
walking,
between.
yeah,
Hmm.
that might be a little
They put
different.
all this beauty and all these, all these lakes and these trees and everything, which is great if we're in carts playing in a scramble golf tournament.
True.
But when you're
True.
walking, it can get tough. Yeah,
Yeah.
and what I'll do is if I think we need to shuttle a hole, I'll time it on on my little drive around that I do.
Makes sense.
And that's where a lot of the problems that we run into is the shuttle holes. Because if you just think it's sometimes you just get this feeling like, oh, that's going to be a problem, because if it's a long walk, the kid's going to get up to the hole huffing and puffing and he's going to chunk a 7 iron in the water.
Right.
So you got to keep the kids hydrating. You got to keep them well energized and not use it all going up a hill from 7 to 8. So
Right.
that we have, but yeah, national championship weekend is 2 weeks from Saturday. It's going to be December 7th and 8th. We're going
Okay.
to have 8 golf tournaments all throughout the Orlando area,
Huge.
and as tough as it can be, that much fun, because at the end of the year, it's our last tournament where you get points towards the end of the year player of the year. And for some of our tournaments, if it's tournament of champions, for example, you get 8,000 points towards your point standing. So you could be in like 10th or 11th place, close, and then win, and whoever was in first, like finished outside the points getting places, and all of a
Hmm.
sudden you're the winner. So it's never over until the end of the year tournament. And we have to. Last year, I ran the boys 11 to 13 tournament at Orange County National, which used to host the Corn Ferry and the Live Tour,
Hmm.
and I had 37 states and 12 countries represented that week from the 11 to 13.
God. Oh,
11,
that's strong. That's real
11 to
strong.
13. But when I didn't even really take golf, I guess, seriously until I was 12 years old. I was chasing the bigger white ball. I was a baseball player. So
Baseball
just
player.
seeing these 11 to 13-year-old kids that are shooting 65 and 66. I shot
Yeah.
65 and 66 at 11 years old, but I had to play another nine.
Yeah. On the front
So,
nine, right? On
and
the front
I got,
nine.
yeah, that was the front nine score. But no, they're a lot of fun. We have a party going on the night before on that Friday. Um, we're still finalizing all the details of that, but
Yeah.
it's going to be a lot of fun. It's also good to see there's some kids that are playing in this tournament that they got in because they won a tournament in January and they haven't played since, but
Hmm.
they signed up right after the tournament, after they got the invite, and now they're coming to play. So you get to see a lot of familiar faces. Like I said, I've been doing this so long that a lot of these families I've been seeing since the 2020 year. So we have, yeah, 8 tournaments going on. Rio Pinar, Champions Gate, both courses on Champions Gate, Shingle Creek, Eagle Creek, which is the where they host the Annika Invitational at, and
Hmm.
then I'll be at Providence down in Davenport running our boys 14 to 15 tournament of champions. So
Okay.
we have 3 different ones for the boys 16 to 18. We have a boys tournament, 16 to 18 tournament champions. We have a boys, if their best finish was second through fifth place, we have a tournament for them. And then we have some that, the boys 16 to 18, if their best finish was 6th through 10th, we have a tournament for them, because
Okay.
we just have, that's our biggest division. You'll have, I've had tournaments where you had 50 kids in the tournament, and 44 of them were from the 16 to 18-year-olds. So
Yeah.
that's the top 10 from 380 tournaments from your biggest divisions. That's a lot of pole to choose from.
Yeah,
And
that's
then we
true.
have the boys, like I said, the boys 14 to 15 tournament champions, girls 14 to 18 tournament champions, girls 14 to 18 national championship, which is like the second to fifth place finishers in that division. We have boys U10 champion, national championship, girls U13 national championship, and then, like I said, 11 to 13. So like I said, there's so much work that goes into it, but also it's so much fun. And I know I know I've said that a lot, but it's also very satisfying, because there's some tournaments, you don't, uh, you could kind of run with one hand behind your back, but national
Hmm.
championship, it's all hands on deck.
Yeah.
You need as many volunteers, as many interns, as many extra staff members as you can. And once you put that flag stick in after that guy taps in for the win,
Yeah.
like
Then you can
you
breathe.
all that the relief that
Yeah.
comes after that. But it's our biggest tournament. We have, like I said, we have 1,000 kids. one year actually. Well, it used to be when I was playing, it was the top 20 points getters from each age division.
Okay.
So if there was 120, and then they're making now it's an event or now there's an event for each age group. So
Yeah,
they've
that's
expanded in that
different.
way.
Yeah. I was
They've
gonna ask
expanded
you,
in that way.
how do the points work like every tournament? Is it like because sometimes your tours can have, you can get 30 points, 20,
Mhm.
you know, 15. How did the points work with the Hurricane?
Right. So about our tour, we have certain tournaments that anybody can sign up for, which is like
Okay.
the Knoxville Junior Open or the Indianapolis Junior Open, and so
Yeah.
that's open to anybody. And then we have, of course, the invited series, which is mainly up in the Atlanta area from the invited courses. And then we have the
Hmm.
college prep series. Those are a lot of fun because the some of the rising sophomores, juniors, and seniors will play in those, so they can go do a visit with the on campus
Yeah.
at
College.
Purdue
Yeah.
or Louisville or Campbell University or wherever the case may be. But for those tournaments, those are kind of like our standard, like our normal tournaments. And for those, the winners they kind of go in little increments. So like I'll give you an example. Like first place gets 1,000 points in those
Okay.
events.
Okay.
Second place gets 700. Third place gets 550. Fourth place 400. Fifth place 350, and so on.
Okay.
Now for our now for the major championships. So the major championships are kind of like almost uh, a multiplier of 1.5 of those. And the major championships, for anybody that doesn't know what our major championships are with the Hurricane Tour, those are a lot of fun because that in those events, everybody gets a caddy, not
Okay.
just the younger boys and the younger girls. Everybody. They're not required to take a caddy, but they can have one. I call
Okay.
it literally and figuratively taking weight off the player's shoulders
Gotcha.
because mom, dad, brother, friend, coach, it can be parents will be like, can grandpa caddy, can dad caddy, can his brother caddy? I'm like, it can be anybody on God's green earth
Oh, that's
that can
good.
caddy for it. You could pick one out of the 8 billion people in this world. Yes, they can caddy for it.
Yeah, a lot of
So
a lot of the juniors don't realize that when you don't carry your bag, you save yourself about
yep,
30% energy,
is
and
that
that
exactly.
could that could be the difference of maybe 2 or 3 strokes.
And for our tour, we allow the parent. We don't make the when I was playing, my dad was my caddy, and he had to walk.
Okay.
You now we allow them to either walk, use the push cart. My dad could have used the push cart, but he carried the clubs.
Hmm.
But now we allow the caddy to use a cart, a spectator
Okay.
cart. Now, that's based
Okay.
on the course's availability of the carts, because some courses they have multiple courses that they need their carts
Right.
for the public play. But if there is a cart available, they can put the clubs on the back and drive from shot to shot, and already have the yardage and already got the club pulled when the player gets there.
Okay.
So for those terms, those are a lot of fun because those are some of my best memories from junior golf. Was my dad caddying. He used to say that I couldn't fire him because I needed a ride home, and I needed a place to sleep tonight. So
That's right.
I couldn't caddy or I couldn't fire him. But for those, it's kind of a multiplier. So so for those, you still hear me?
Yeah, I'm still here. Yep, I
Okay,
can
good.
hear you.
So
Mhm.
for the major championships, it's 1,500 for the first place. It's 1,200 for second, 1,000 for third, 850 for fourth, and then
Okay.
750 for fifth. So kind of like I said, a multiplier of 1.5. Now for this, for in 2 weeks for the
Mhm.
national championships, um,
That's a big
yeah,
multiplier.
yes, sir. So we have, and then for our invitationals and our national championships, which is like the midseason invitational, we have the Mid Atlantic Regional, that's at Greensboro National, the Southeast Regional Invitational, that's at World Golf Village,
Hmm.
things of that nature. Northeast one is actually at Bethpage Blue every year. So
Okay.
when we have those, they're 3,000 for first. That we kind of expand it. So for those other two that I was talking about, it's only first through 10th place that get first through 10th and ties that get points. Now for the national championships and the invitationals, it is the top 20 that get points.
Okay.
So for example, first place gets 3,000, second place gets 2,300, third place gets 1,900, fourth place gets 1,600, fifth place gets 1,300, and so on and so forth. Now, this, like I said earlier, the tournament champions, anything can happen.
Right.
Kind of like the tour championship at Eastlake.
Okay.
It used to be when they first started that FedEx Cup, it was like whoever, if you had a big enough lead, all
You're
you had to
gonna
do
win
was
it.
play 70. All you had to do was play 72 holes of golf, Vijay Singh or Tiger Woods style, in 2007, 2008, and you were $10 million richer.
Right.
Now, with how they kind of reset everything, anything can happen. So
Right.
same thing for us. We don't reset the points like NASCAR style either, but they do. There are big points. So for the tournament champions, first place is 8,000 points. Second place is 6,000. Third place 4,950. Fourth place 4,000. Fifth place
Okay.
3,500, and so on and so forth.
Okay.
So
Big
they
points.
exactly like I said, first through 20. First place through 20 point or through 20th place. So there are plenty of chances to get points and plenty of chances to also make memories.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it's a game, and I wish more people could realize that. I've been playing this game since my grandfather, Earl Ammons, put a plastic golf club in my hand at 6 years old, or excuse me,
Right.
6 months old.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Baby. Yeah.
then it was just a 1 month, 1 month or once a month thing with my dad and my grandfather. But I wish someone had taken, because so many people, yes, or for some, in some ways, in some instances, it is work. It
Hmm.
is a job. It is a grind. But at the end of the day, it's a game.
Yeah.
And I wish some people could take that. I wish I could go back and tell 16, 17, 18, even the college golf, Brett, hey, it's just a game.
Yeah.
To me, people, they put so much emphasis and they take the fun out of it by
Yeah.
making it work, or
Put a lot
like,
of pressure on themselves.
right. My mom, Valerie Ammons, she told me at a young age, something that I take with me. She said, if you wake up every morning, some people wake up and they say, I have to get up, I have to go to work, I
Yeah.
have to, I have to, I have to. She said, if you change the word have to, or the words have to the
Hmm.
word get to,
Yeah.
it'll change your whole perspective.
Yeah.
I get to
Yeah.
go play in a golf tournament.
Yeah.
I get to grind at the game I love. I
Right.
get to play in the final pairing of a golf tournament. So and that's what I've told a lot of parents, because a lot of players over the years, they'll come to me for some advice, or mom and dads will, for like recruiting advice. And that's one of the main things I tell everybody: just change that one little thing. I have to, and to I
Hmm.
get to.
Good. Good. I got a,
There's my little tidbit of advice for the day.
right. Right. I got a question that came in from the question from the chat line.
Mm-hmm.
They want to know what's been your favorite golf course that that y'all have hosted a tournament at.
Ooh. Ooh. Okay.
That's a good one, huh?
Yeah, that is a good one.
That's a good one,
Ooh,
Dan. Good one.
that's a good one. So
Yeah.
probably my favorite one that we have hosted a tournament on, the Hurricane Tour.
Yeah.
We've done a tournament at Copperhead at Innisbrook,
Yeah.
and I'd ran a tournament at Innisbrook South when I first started with Hurricane.
Hmm.
But where we stayed at on site was right off the 13th green, and
Okay.
but and I hope the statute of limitations is up, but we actually snuck on and was doing some putting games on that 13th green at night.
Right.
But that's probably my favorite course that we've done. Now myself, of the 170 courses,
Hmm.
who
And
this course
Copperhead is the
was,
one they do the PGA tournament at, right?
yes, that's the one they do
Right.
the tournament at after the Arnold Palmer tournament,
Right. Right.
in the during the Florida Swing. Now I've done
Hmm.
a tournament at TPC Deer Run where they
Hmm.
do the John Deere Classic at.
Yeah.
The problem was it was in late October in Illinois, right on that Iowa Illinois line,
Hmm.
and I don't think it got hotter than 40 degrees. It was also raining. It was also raining and blowing about 20 degrees. But the course was amazing for the conditions that was going on. Now we've also let's see. Oh, I know one. I know one. So it's not like a really well-known course, but there's this
Hmm.
course in New Jersey. It's called Architects. So
Architect. Okay.
Architects in New Jersey.
Okay.
So I'm a big fan of golf design. I'm a big fan of, like, all the big names, Pete Dye and
Yes.
all the guys that have made golf course.
Donald Ross. Yeah.
Donald Ross, yes.
Yeah.
So this golf course in New Jersey, I was running it in 2022 back when I was Northeast director. Every hole on that of the 18-hole golf course
Hmm.
was designed with a certain designer in mind.
Okay.
So, like, for example, hole 10 of that golf course was designed for the guy that designed Riviera, in
Okay.
Los
LA.
Angeles. And if you
Yeah.
think about hole 10, it's got those bunkers all around the green and it's
Yeah.
drivable. And that's what hole 10 was. Now
Okay.
there was but my favorite hole on that course was hole 13. It was Alistair McKenzie, who of course we all know did Augusta National, which is
Hmm.
my favorite sporting venue in the world.
Right.
My favorite sporting event, the Masters. Fun fact, I was actually there the final round the day Tiger won
Mm.
in 2019. Still the coolest day of my
2019.
life.
That was the last time you won. Right. Right.
Yeah, 2019. The problem was I had a bunch of people from college that wanted me to buy something, so I didn't make it out to the course until he was on the back nine.
Right.
So, but that I was about from me to this wall from him when he hit the green on 12 after Molinari put it in the water. But anyway, back to
On
architects.
the
So
par three, right?
on the par three, yeah,
Yeah.
he pulled what I call the "Hey, I've already won here 4 times. Watch this," and put it
And
in
he
the
hit it
middle
to
of
the
the
left.
green.
It hit it to the left
Yep,
of the right.
that ball was not going anywhere short or right of that flag. That ball was going
Right.
40 feet left, get
It's
my
it's
two putt, and go to
it's
the
a
next
long
hole.
putt. It's a long putt, but it's better than taking a penalty.
Well, there's nobody that knows Augusta National
Yeah.
in its design now than probably Tiger. Like Jack Nicklaus won there 6 times, but Tiger Woods changed the course.
Right.
They had to Tiger proof it
Yeah.
because Tiger was hitting
They made it
wedges.
longer.
Right, Tiger was hitting
Yeah.
wedges in the par fives.
Right.
But anyway, Architects Hole 13 has a little creek coming from the left side, and
Hmm.
then there's 2 little bridges to go over the creek, just like 12 and 13 at Augusta. And for me, like I said, being a Georgia boy, Augusta is just like the creme de la creme of golf. And I think even anybody from not Augusta would say that. But anyway, that course was cool because I've always thought about getting into golf architecture and design later on in life.
Yeah.
Designed by Brett Ammons, in the
Hmm.
future. That'd be pretty cool. So that one was probably my favorite. This job has allowed me to play some pretty cool golf courses. I got to play TPC Scottsdale in November
Arizona.
of 2020, about this
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
I played,
That's a waste management, right?
yes, sir. They were
Mhm.
just starting to put up the grandstands. This was November of 2020.
Yeah, that's a wild
Um,
place during that time. But
yes,
I think they're supposed to be changing it a little bit going into
I heard that.
2025. Yeah.
The Half Moon Bay, which is kind of like, I call it a cheaper version of Pebble Beach. It's
Hmm.
like right there on the water, just south or just north of Pebble Beach,
Right.
kind of between Pebble and San Francisco.
Okay.
I ran the tournament the week after I played TPC Scottsdale, and the 18th hole has the Ritz Carlton Hotel. I think they were like $800 a night room, but there was we made the joke that weekend because the 18th hole, the entire right side was water.
Okay.
And I made the joke, one kid hit it down the right side and we had marked it red. And, in the red, if you hit it in the red, you get straight line back. I said, the problem is you hit it at an angle where if you did a straight line back, you'd be going all the way to Japan.
Yeah. Right.
So we run,
All the way back.
but we have a lot of great golf courses.
That's good.
Um, Personally, we've played I've directed some golf tournaments at courses that I played Hurricane golf tournaments at. And it
Hmm.
was kind of a nostalgic moment, calling out or marking the golf course.
Right.
And I'm part or to also for those that don't play our tour, we have our own app. We have our own app that the kids use to get in contact with me if there's a rules question, post
Okay.
scores, and I'm actually partially the reason for that because back in 2013 I was involved in a rule situation
Okay.
playing Hurricane Tour, and I watched this guy make a six.
Hmm.
Everybody and my whole family was there. Everybody saw him make a six.
Yeah.
We didn't realize it until after the round that he had signed for a five, which if you sign a lower score, that's automatic DQ.
Yeah.
But I didn't want him DQ. We ended up being in a 4-way tie for first. I just wanted to be 4-for-1 playoff.
Yeah.
But for 40 minutes, we kept going back and forth. He says, "No, I made a five. I made a six. I made a five. I made a six."
Uh,
And that's it. And golf's a game of honesty.
yeah.
And now that I do the rules as a rules official, I get it because at the time I'm like everybody there saw him make a six.
Yeah.
How is this a problem?
Yeah.
But the problem is that for us as rules officials, it's almost like the spectators aren't there when it comes
Yeah.
to rule situations.
Yeah.
If I always use this
Got to
analogy,
rely on the players.
Right. I always use this analogy. If LeBron James or Kobe Bryant, may rest in peace, if they had taken 3, 4 steps in the lane and everybody in Staples Center saw it,
Yeah,
except for the refs, it didn't happen.
that's right. That's a
And
fact.
so for us, if we're not there, we're going off the player's honesty.
Yeah, that's true.
So, but back to what I was saying, that happened, and then a
Hmm.
month and a half later, what they started doing live scoring on every 4 or 5 holes. You would meet up with a rules official and give your
Confirm it.
scores for
Right.
the previous 4 or 5 holes,
Right.
and they would put them in on iPads, and they charge the iPads every night after the round. So I always joke with Mario back then, and I still joke with him now. I'm like, yeah, sorry I made you buy all those iPads because of that rule situation.
Wow.
So, but
That's
no, we like back to that question. I know my ADHD is hitting, and we're kind of going all. I'm kind of going all over the place, so I apologize for that. But no, we don't run tournaments at just some kind of run of the mill golf courses. We run some pretty cool golf courses. You've seen it with your son, with
yeah.
wherever the golf courses may be.
Right.
Um, so if you want to run, have a great time at a great golf tournament on a great venue, come play the Hurricane Tour.
Good deal. Good deal. So, what would be your, as we wrap up, what would be your final message to parents and juniors?
Yes. There's a few tips I learned over my junior golf, college, and even playing in a couple pro tournaments, and then
Mhm.
now being on the other, what I like to say, being on the other side of the tee box.
Right.
Number one, make sure that the player wants to do it. Too many times, not even in golf, but in other sports, they're in it because mom and dad are footing the bill.
Yeah.
They're not doing it because they want to.
Right. They don't really care.
So, but it is a long. It is not. And it is not a cheap hobby. If I went to Dick's Sporting Goods right now and bought 12 footballs, they may last me 5, 6 years.
Right.
If I
Right.
went to Dick's Sporting Goods and bought 12 golf balls, they may last me a day.
Yeah.
And so if they want to do it, make sure it's for the right reasons.
Right.
And because my dad said, the moment you don't want to do this, let me know.
Yeah.
Let
Hey,
me know.
save a lot, save a
I will
ton of
foot the
money.
bill for this if this
Right.
is what you want to do.
Yeah.
So first off, make sure it's what the player wants to do. Second of all, like I said, enjoy the grind.
Hmm.
Enjoy enjoy the. There's sometimes you want.
The
There's
journey.
sometimes I lived on a golf course. I
Yeah.
lived right next to the 12th hole at Georgia National in McDonough, Georgia, and I would go out there sometimes and chip and putt before I even went to school. I'd go out there, do a 30-minute little pitch and putt session at 6:30, and then at 6:30 run inside, take a shower, and then go to school.
Hmm.
And then coming and then 4 to 6, with it getting dark now at 5:30 or 6, that kind of takes away some practice time for the junior. But get to the golf course as soon as you can. Enjoy the grind. Um, enjoy the car rides,
Yeah.
the hotels, the memories.
The
Um,
drive home.
it, don't don't leave a tournament without. Or one thing I would say is don't leave a tournament without having learned something from the experience.
Right.
Every Bobby Jones said he never learned something in a win, and that's kind of half true. I like to say I learned a lot of stuff from wins,
Yeah.
but I also learned a lot. I felt like I learned a lot more from losses because
Yeah.
you do a lot more wrong things in the losses.
Right.
So golf is a game of doing the least amount of mistakes.
Misses. Yeah.
So the guy who won had the least amount of misses. Yeah.
That's
So
correct.
learn something, write it down, keep your stats. Keep your stats.
Hmm.
Every round, whether I was just playing with my dad or whether it was a golf tournament, I kept stats.
Got
And you don't have to go like Matthew Fitzpatrick type stats.
it. Hmm.
If you want to have 9,000 notebooks of your loft angle and your ball speed and your club head speed and all that, go for it.
Yeah.
But just just do okay, yeah, I hit 12 out of 14 fairways, but I hit only 5 out of 18 greens. Now we got to work on the irons and the wedges.
That's correct.
Oh yeah, I hit 16 greens, but I had 36 putts. Now we got to
I'm
make some
putting.
putts. So
Right.
that takes me back to learning something from every round, whether it be a tournament round or whether it be a practice round,
That's right.
or just playing with friends. Um, One thing that I did my junior year, I would say I went to JUCO, and then LaGrange, Andrew College, and then LaGrange.
Mm-hmm.
But I was talking to University of Houston, Georgia Southern, Georgia State, Georgia College State University, Georgia Southwestern. I was talking to some D1s and D2s,
Yeah.
but I wanted to get more. I wanted to get more looks. So what I did was I called myself the original Josh Allen, the quarterback of the Buffalo Bills. You know, he
Buffalo
sent like
Bills, yeah.
1,000 emails to
Mm-hmm.
every quarterback coach, offensive coordinator, and head coach
Yeah.
in the D1, FCS, and FBS. He just wanted a chance, and
Yeah.
he just wanted a shot.
Yeah.
And one person wrote him back, and it was the quarterback coach of Wyoming, and he just signed a $260 million deal, and he's the top 5 quarterback in the NFL.
That's true.
You only in the recruiting world, just like Mark Cuban says about being an entrepreneur,
Mm-hmm.
and that just like being an entrepreneur, you could fail 20 times, but you only got to be right once, and you're a millionaire.
Right.
In golf recruiting, all you got to do is have one coach like you
that believes in you.
That believes in you. It's great if you got all these offers, like you got these football players that have 85 offers to choose from. That's great. But there's the other side of guys that, like Josh Allen, had no offers. Right. Josh Allen was a 0-star recruit. So what I did was, and I tell every parent this, and I've had parents that have emailed me or texted me on signing day, a picture of their kids signing a college golf scholarship because of the tip that I'm about to give. Go online, look up college golf student athlete or recruiting questionnaire. Mm-hmm. Okay. And you will find questionnaires from all over. Yeah. Because golf coaches talk. Mm-hmm. And what you do if you're listening, you fill that out and you put in your normal information, your personal information, what's your dad, what's your mom, what's their phone number, email. And then, but the main thing they want to focus on is the golf part. What's your handicap? What are your top 5 best scores from the last 365 days tournament scores? Mm-hmm. They could care less because you have so many people, and I'm just going to call a spade here. You have so many people that withdraw because they don't want to post their score on the rankings.
Well, yeah, we see that all the time.
I saw it all the time when I was playing. I see it almost every tournament. Yeah. They shot a high score on Saturday and they don't show up on Sunday. Right. I mean, I'm just going to call a spade here. So
WD
at WD, so and a lot of college golf coaches, some college golf coaches that recruited me 10, 15 years ago, mm-hmm. I still talk to. They'll hit me up for a player's information, and they say that's one of the worst things. Yeah. Is that because they don't care about your top 3 worst scores. If it starts to become a pattern, then we might have a problem. But everybody has their bad days.
But they just want to see you bounce back too.
Yeah, exactly. I've seen kids. I had one kid. He was 13 shots back in the Northeast. He had shot 83, and the leader shot 70 on Saturday. The leader shot 76 to finish with a 146.
Right.
This guy went out and shot 63.
Ooh, he put up a score.
9 under par, and he won by 1 shot.
Yeah, he put up a major score.
Yeah, and there's your bounce back. He went from 13
But if he would have withdrew,
right,
he would have never shot the 60.
Right. Yeah, he went 82-63, so he's 12 shots back. So but back to the questionnaires. They'll ask you all that stuff, and then they'll ask you who's your golf coach, who's your high school golf coach, and then they'll ask you go and make a highlight tape. You got all these football and basketball players that do these highlight tapes. Mm-hmm. Go make your coaches want to see what kind of swing you have.
Yeah.
Not every swing is the same, but they still want to see is it going to produce great results.
Right.
And so go, hit your driver, hit your 3-wood, hit a high iron, a mid iron, a low iron, hit some pitch shots, some flop shots. Do a video of your 5, 10, and 20 footer, and then upload that. I filled out 300 of those questionnaires in a week.
Wow.
I didn't want to leave I didn't want to leave a stone unturned.
Right. Yeah, you did.
And I got so many responses. And I mean, we had to delete the ones that said, thanks for Phil, and then keep the ones that were good.
That's it.
And because college golf coaches, they talk. And mm-hmm. it's not as cutthroat as college football or basketball. Back when he was coaching, I don't think Nick Saban would have called up Kirby Smart and be like, hey, you need to recruit this guy. But maybe he would but then maybe in the golf world they would. And there's and even I know of several instances where you have either a D1 or D2 coach. They'll call up a
D3 or an NAI coach that they know and say, hey, this kid has a 4.0. He's a yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir kind of kid. He'll keep his nose clean. He's not good enough for my team, but if you sign him, he'll be your number one guy for 4 years.
Just like that.
Just like that. And that you never know who you're going to meet.
Okay.
I filled out all this stuff, and then I lost my game, reconstructed my swing from scratch, basically.
Right.
And parents will come up to me all the time, and then they'll be like, it's October or September of my son's senior year, junior year, whatever, and he's not getting any looks. I got my first scholarship offer on my dad's birthday in April of my senior year.
Late.
Yeah. I already passed the spring signing day.
Right.
On April 8th, 2015, my dad's 46th birthday in Aaron Faye's office, the head coach of Andrew College, who actually is now the head coach of my second alma mater, LaGrange.
Okay.
He just got that job a couple months ago. So I say all this to say I've seen it firsthand as a player, and I've seen it from tournament directing standpoint. It feels pretty good to see kids go and fulfill what was my dream, which was to play college golf. But don't leave any stone unturned. You don't know who you're going to meet. You don't know who you're going to run into. And the last thing I will say, and this is really big for everybody, Joe Inman, he was the head coach of Georgia State. I went to a college golf seminar with my dad when I was 16 years old, a sophomore in high school. And he's no longer the head coach, but he built a pretty great resume at Georgia State.
Yeah.
And he said that he recruits on 3 A's. Academics, because they got to be able to get the grades right.
Yeah.
Athletics, they got to be able to hit the ball. That's the main reason they're here.
Right.
And then attitude.
Yeah.
He will not recruit a guy that's going to be cause problems on the bus or the van ride or the plane ride. That a guy that's just going to be causing problems. And he also said that he would recruit a guy that averages a score. His average score is 72. Or 73, but he has a 4.0 rather than recruiting the 2.0 that averages 68 or 69 because he can help that guy. Joe Inman was a PGA professional. He even played on the PGA Tour. He can help. He said, I can help that guy go from 72 to 73 to a 68 or 69 average. I'm not your history professor.
Right.
I can't help you. If you got a 2.0 in high school, college is going to be kind of rough.
It's going to be tough.
There's not many people that go from a 2.0 in high school to a 4.0 in college.
Right.
There's a lot of people that go from a 4.0 in high school to a 2.0 in college because college is just a different ball game. You're not under mom and dad's roof, whatever the case may be. Yeah. So they recruit he said he recruits on those 3 things. And when I've mentioned that to college coaches, they said that's literally the formula I follow.
Yeah.
And I follow the 3 A's. That's mainly what college coaches do. And not just college golf. If you're listening and you got, siblings that are trying to play other sports in college, that's what a lot of coaches do, the 3 A's system. If I was a college golf coach tomorrow, that's what I would recruit on. Right. So how good are they? How good are they on the golf course? How good are they in the classroom? And how good are they in the locker room?
There you go. Well, that's good. That's good, Brett. Well, listen, man, we're going to bring this thing to a close, but man, how can our listeners find you, Hurricane? What's the best way to get in contact with you guys?
So we have several social media pages.
Okay.
We have a Facebook page, Hurricane Junior Golf Tour. We have Instagram, Hurricane Junior Golf Tour spelled out, no abbreviation. And then we have Twitter, we have TikTok. That's suddenly becoming the new Facebook, the one everyone uses.
Right.
So we have several different social media pages, and then we're constantly updating with different things that are coming out, new tournaments coming out, different referral programs that we're launching for 2025.
That's good.
And our website, hjdt.org, you can actually, our website might be the easiest to maneuver for a junior golf tour because it's so easy and laid out. And also, if you go to our website and you go to tournaments, you can actually filter our schedule by the surrounding states around wherever you are.
Yeah, so I like that feature. I like that part where you can click South Carolina, Georgia, North Carolina, and look at all the tournaments in that particular state.
Right. and you can pick ones that like myself. I used to want to play in junior golf tournaments where I got some course knowledge. If I got that course knowledge in my back pocket, I'm already more ready, and I'm already more confident than the other guy that's seeing it for the first time.
Right.
But you can filter our schedule by state. You can filter it by the date. You can put in a zip code and however many miles from that zip code.
Oh, that's
and
good.
like I said, our 2025 schedule is already up, and we're getting ready to rock and roll for 2025 and beyond.
That's good. That's good. Well, listen, man, I appreciate you being on, Brett, and let's keep in touch. I'm still going to be around junior golf, of course, with the podcast, and probably doing some other stuff with junior tournaments, and helping here in South Carolina, because we have the SCJGA here, so I'll probably be around junior golf for a while.
Yes, sir. I appreciate the time. I appreciate, Ro, what you're doing for junior golf, and just trying to keep it growing. And we're trying to do the same at Hurricane. And we're looking forward to what the rest of 2024 brings, and 2025 and beyond.
All right. Good deal. Tell Mario I said hello, okay?
Yes, sir.